Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a bit of a different journey. We're diving into some really unsettling, true amounts of road trip dangers. The kind that, lurk just beneath the surface of what seems like a totally ordinary trip.
Yeah.
Our sources today are basically a collection of real-life experiences. They're stark reminders, really, of how fast the familiar can become, well, terrifying.
And we're not just going to recount the chilling events, are we? We want to dig into what these stories tell us about, say, human intuition.
Right.
And the psychology of fear, maybe. And also the surprising ways risk can just pop up during travel. It's about understanding the what, but also the why these threats worked, and, what lessons are there about awareness.
Okay, let's get straight into the first one.
Okay.
This story involves a woman named Sally. She was a Canadian from southern Ontario, and apparently a pretty seasoned solo road tripper.
Okay.
This happened back in the 80s. She used to make this really long drive, like over 20 hours down to Oklahoma, pretty often to see family.
Wow, that's a haul. Solo, too.
Yeah. So on this one trip, she's maybe 14, 15 hours in, and she's getting exhausted. Understandable.
Totally.
So she decides, okay, time to pull over for the night. She finds a rest stop, and she specifically picks one that she described as very well lit and busy. Lots of lights, people coming and going.
Makes sense. Safety in numbers, right?
Yeah.
Or perceived safety, anyway.
Exactly. She parked right near the lights, felt totally fine because other travelers were around. In fact, an elderly couple pulled up right next to her in their RV.
Oh, okay.
They exchanged a few words, seemed nice, and then they settled in.
Oh.
Sally locked her car doors, felt pretty secure, and went to sleep.
That initial feeling, that sense of safety, it's so relatable, isn't it? You choose the bright, busy spot.
You do?
But what's really gripping about Sally's story is what happened after she fell asleep. She only slept for a couple of hours, she said, and then woke up suddenly.
Yeah.
With this really profound, unsettling feeling. She looked around, nothing seemed obviously wrong, lights still on, trucks pulling in and out, normal stuff.
Right, the usual rest stop buzz.
Exactly. She tried to kind of talk herself out of it, maybe just tired, uncomfortable sleeping in the car, maybe a bit groggy.
We've all done that. Ignored that little feeling.
But this feeling, it didn't go away, it got stronger. She called it a jarring, queasy, uneasy feeling. And then she said this, that every red alarm and instinct inside her was just screaming at her to leave. Right now.
Wow. Even with no clear danger.
No visible threat at all. No logical reason she could pinpoint. But that internal red alarm, as she put it, it made her panic. She just started her car and she basically peeled out of there. Didn't even think twice.
Okay, and this is where it gets truly horrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Sally drives off, goes about 20 miles down the highway, finds a motel and gas station combo, gets a room, finally gets some proper rest.
Okay. It's safer, she probably thought.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The next morning, maybe 9 a.m., she turns on the TV in the motel room, just relaxing.
Oh.
And there's a breaking news story. It gives her, quote, literal chills. It's about an elderly couple, brutally killed in the middle of the night.
Oh, no. Don't tell me.
Yes. The news footage shows the exact same RV she was parked next to.
No way.
In the exact spot. In the exact same rest stop. She even saw, a detail, a fast food drink cup she remembered accidentally dropping near her car when she parked.
That's chillingly specific.
The report said sometime during the night, after she'd left, a man broke into their RV, killed them both, and then just vanished.
So it happened right after she fled, when that alarm went off.
Presumably, yes.
Yeah.
Right next to where she had been sleeping, just hours, maybe minutes before. The killer was never caught. And Sally, understandably, was deeply affected. Never slept at a rest stop again. Always motels after that.
That story is just, wow. It really powerfully demonstrates the subconscious power of intuition, doesn't it? That red alarm wasn't just anxiety.
Yeah.
It was a genuine life-saving early warning. Our brains, they're constantly scanning, picking up tiny cues, sounds, shadows, maybe just a shift in the atmosphere that our conscious mind doesn't even register.
Like a background process running?
Exactly. Psychologists sometimes call it System 1 thinking. It's fast pattern recognition. It flags something as off or wrong, even if you can't say exactly why.
And it shows the danger can be right there.
Yeah.
Even in busy public places.
Absolutely. It underscores that unsettling reality. Seemingly safe spaces aren't always safe, and danger doesn't always announce itself. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many times have we maybe ignored a similar feeling?
It really does. That inner voice was everything for Sally. Okay, let's switch gears and continents. Our next story takes us to Australia, the Outback.
Ah, the Outback. Already sounds isolated.
Extremely. This involves two friends, self-described science nerds. The narrator was a pretty big guy, 6'2", 26 years old. They were on this ambitious road trip,
Okay.
a 6-hour round trip just for the day to see a famous dinosaur trail way out in central Queensland.
Cool destination, but remote.
Very. And the trip started rough. First, the car's AC broke in the middle of a brutal Australian summer.
Oh, that's miserable and potentially dangerous out there.
Then their GPS stopped working. Apparently, the map software just didn't cover that remote area. It couldn't find the roads.
Right, so no AC, no GPS, back to basics.
Exactly. They had to rely on an old-school physical map, which you can imagine is tough going on unmarked dirt tracks with hardly any signs.
Yeah, you can already see the vulnerability starting to stack up, can't you? It's not just inconvenience, it's loss of comfort, loss of reliable navigation, pushes them way out of their comfort zone.
Definitely. But the real red flags, they started after the dinosaur trail visit. As they were leaving, this guy approached them, described as a gnarly old guy wearing camouflage gear.
Okay. Did he work there?
He seemed like it, like maybe an employee of the trail company. He asked where they were from, where they were headed. The narrator said the guy gave him the stink eye when he was a bit vague with his answers. But the guy apparently took a liking to his friend. And despite giving off what the narrator called a definite creepy vibe,
Uh-oh. Creepy vibe is never good.
he offered them directions. Said it was much quicker way back. Claimed it would shave maybe an hour off their long, hot drive back.
The classic shortcut offer, especially tempting when you're hot and tired and lost.
Exactly. So they jumped at the chance, wrote down his verbal directions.
But that unsolicited advice, especially from someone giving off a creepy vibe in such an isolated spot, that should have set off alarms, right? It's almost a textbook lure, offering something desirable to exploit vulnerability.
It absolutely should have. Because what happened next was just increasingly eerie. They followed his directions, ended up on this narrow dirt track. They were told they'd hit an intersection in about 30 minutes.
Let me guess, they didn't.
An hour and a half later, still on this single dirt road. Completely lost. Petrol gauge is now showing a quarter tank. No houses, no other cars, no turnoffs. Just endless, dry Australian bush.
Oh, that's panic setting in territory. Low fuel, lost, middle of nowhere.
For sure. Then they spot something in the distance, looks kind of like a house or structure. They drive towards it, desperately hoping for petrol, maybe directions.
Please don't let it be what I think it is.
As they got closer, it was obvious it wasn't a house. It was a burned-out caravan, like gutted, just a shell.
Okay, creepy.
And strung up around the entrance, animal bones, a cow skull, and a hand-painted sign that read, Moonlight Motel.
Moonlight Motel. That's not inviting.
Not at all. As their own alarm bells are going off like crazy, they hear it. A creepy scratching sound coming from inside the caravan.
Oh, get out of there.
And then a voice, a childlike voice, but clearly an adult man trying to sound like a little girl, giggled and said, "Are you here to play with me?"
Okay, that's pure nightmare fuel. Time to leave immediately.
They did. Floored it out of there. And what really ties this whole thing together, makes it clear it was deliberate, is what they found out later. After they managed to get back towards the main road, they stopped at the actual tour company, the one for the dinosaur trail, needing petrol and proper directions this time. The narrator mentioned the jerky workmate who gave them the bad directions. The lady at the front desk looked at him funny, asked for a description of the guy.
And she knew him, or didn't know him.
She listened, and then she confirmed. That man doesn't work here. She told them this guy had been hanging around trying to get tourist details, specifically telling people he had vacancies at his place.
His place. The Moonlight Motel.
The very same one. He was actively trying to lure people there.
Wow. That is chillingly calculated, using that helpful facade, the shortcut, to lure people. It makes you shiver, thinking about how many others he might have tried that on. Or worse, who might not have gotten away.
It's a terrifying thought. And a powerful lesson, isn't it? About unsolicited advice, especially when you're isolated and vulnerable.
Absolutely.
You have to verify information, especially directions from strangers. Predators are cunning. They use helpfulness, authority, anything to exploit that desire for an easier path.
That shortcut offer is such a red flag in these situations, especially if your gut, like Sally's, is screaming something's wrong. These friends, maybe they felt that creepiness, but ignored it for convenience.
It seems possible they wanted that quicker way back.
Exactly. That mix of isolation, tech failing like the GPS, and just wanting the easier route home, it made them targets.
Yeah.
It really poses that question. How do you balance politeness or trust with necessary vigilance when you're out of your element? It's a tough line.
It really is.
Okay.
Story number 3. This one, it really hits on the unpredictability of people and just the sheer terror of a threat that comes out of nowhere.
Okay.
This happened to a 13-year-old girl. She was on a big cross-country road trip with her dad, who was a journalist and a friend. They were doing research, traveling Old Route 66 from Virginia all the way to California and back, a month-long trip.
Sounds like an adventure. For a 13-year-old, anyway.
Yeah, but partway through, her dad, being an outdoorsy type, decided they should camp one night. So they found a spot. And she described it as being in the middle of literally nowhere in the Utah desert, near an old abandoned Pony Express stop.
Middle of nowhere, Utah desert.
Yep.
Yeah, that definitely sets a scene of isolation.
She said she felt it immediately, that overwhelming sense of being totally alone, vulnerable, like if anything went wrong, they'd be totally screwed.
That heightened awareness, that feeling of exposure, it definitely primes you for anxiety or fear, amplifies any threat.
And a threat did appear.
Sure.
Suddenly, unexpectedly, this large truck just shows up. A man gets out. He's carrying a rifle. Looks like a hunting rifle.
Gun team aware.
That's the thing. He just starts sort of hunting around their campsite. And the really chilling detail, they were in an absolute no hunting zone, clearly marked.
So immediate boundary violation, plus the isolation, plus a weapon. That's intensely unnerving. It's that sudden intrusion into their space that's so scary.
And it escalated fast. Her dad saw the man was getting too close to the minivan where his daughter's friend was still sitting.
Right.
So he yelled out, told the guy basically, hey, there are kids here. You can't hunt here.
Okay. Trying to de-escalate, establish boundaries.
But as soon as the man turned to face them, the narrator said she just felt this overwhelming sense of complete doom, like pure dread.
Oh, wow. Just from him turning around.
Yeah. And the man didn't say a word. He just raised the rifle
Yeah.
and aimed it directly at them.
Oh, my God.
Her dad was unarmed. He quickly pushed her behind a big boulder for cover, but he stood his ground, just stared back at the gunman. Silence. For what she said felt like forever, probably a minute or so.
That must have felt like an eternity, a silent standoff.
Then, just as suddenly, the man lowered the gun, cocked his head slightly, pointed at her dad, but with his finger, like a finger pistol, made a fake shot sound or gesture.
What? A fake shot?
Yeah, and then he just got back in his truck.
Yeah.
And drove away. Left them there, completely shaken.
That is bizarrely terrifying. There's no logic to it. Random, unprovoked intimidation, what psychologists might call, senseless aggression.
Exactly. No motive you can see. No reason. Aiming a gun in a no hunting zone, then that weird, chilling fake shot.
Mm-hmm.
It defies explanation.
And the psychological impact, especially on a 13-year-old, she mentioned being convinced he'd come back, right? Making them sleep in the hot minivan instead of the tent.
Yeah, absolutely terrified. Couldn't trust the tent anymore.
It leaves you with such an uncomfortable question. How do you even process a threat like that? One that makes no sense, especially when you're completely exposed. It's a stark reminder that not all dangers follow predictable patterns. Some are just random and scary.
A truly terrifying thought. Okay, one last story. This one takes us to Wyoming, late at night, deserted highways.
Another classic setting for unease.
Definitely. This is from two friends on a cross-country trip. They're driving through Wyoming, well past Laramie, late at night. And they'd actually been pulled over earlier for speeding.
Oh, okay. So probably driving carefully now.
Exactly. They got let off with a warning for going just 10 over, so they were being extra cautious, sticking right to the speed limit. Didn't want any more trouble.
Right. Sets the stage. So what happens?
The setting is key here. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning. Highway's totally empty. The narrator paints a picture. Tall pines lined the 2-lane blacktop, and jagged mountains framed the starlit sky. Very dark, very isolated.
Got it. Limited visibility reinforces the remoteness.
Suddenly, flashing lights, red and blue, in the rearview mirror.
Police. But they were driving carefully.
Well, here's the immediate red flag. The vehicle pulling them over, it looked unmarked.
Unmarked car, middle of nowhere, 3 a.m. after you know you weren't speeding. That's instantly suspicious.
Highly suspicious.
Brilliant.
Especially because her friend was asleep in the passenger seat, so she's alone, essentially, facing this weird situation.
Yeah, that set my teeth on edge. What happened when they stopped?
The interaction was just odd. An officer approaches, has a sort of Midwestern drawl, asks the classic, "Do you know why I pulled you over?"
And she says no, because she didn't.
Right. She says no. Then he asks about their plates that were from Georgia and where they're headed. She says, "Georgia." Family emergency.
Okay, standard enough questions, maybe.
But then he said something really strange. He says, well, miss, you aren't in any shape to make it to Georgia from Nebraska.
Nebraska. They were in Wyoming. And
Yeah.
not in any shape. What does that even mean?
Exactly. She was confused, thought maybe something was wrong with her car, asked him about it. But he didn't answer directly. He just commanded her, step out of the car. I can show you.
Whoa. Okay, immediate order to get out. No clear reason given. No proper ID shown, maybe. That's a huge deviation from normal procedure. Big red flag.
Massive red flag. But here's the crucial moment. As this is happening, the officer's flashlight beam sweeps across her sleeping friend's face in the passenger seat.
Right.
The friend stirs, sits up, groggily asks, what's going on?
Ah, the witness appears.
Exactly. And in that exact moment, the officer just stops, abruptly turns around, walks straight back to his unmarked car, flips a U-turn right there on the highway, and just sped off in the opposite direction, vanished into the night.
Wow. Okay, that sudden departure the second another person wakes up, that screams suspicious intentions.
Totally.
This is such a critical example of a suspicious stop, and the driver handled it well by staying alert. The huge takeaway here is understanding that difference between marked and unmarked vehicles, especially late at night in remote places.
Right. Unmarked cars are used by real police, but
But the behavior was the key. Vague reasons, illogical statements like being in Nebraska, the immediate command to exit the vehicle without cause. Especially when you know you weren't doing anything wrong, that warrants extreme caution.
and him leaving as soon as the friend woke up.
Highly suggestive, isn't it? It really implies he might have been trying to isolate the driver. The presence of a second person, a witness, maybe derailed whatever plan he had. It raises that difficult question again. How do you prioritize safety over immediate compliance if you suspect a stop isn't legitimate? Especially when you're alone or feel vulnerable. Vigilance and knowing your basic rights become so important.
These stories, hearing them one after another, you really start to see some common threads, don't you? Some powerful themes running through them.
Absolutely. When you synthesize them, several patterns really jump out. Things that any traveler should probably keep in mind.
Like the isolation factor.
Definitely. First, the undeniable role of isolated settings. Remote rest stops, the outback, the desert, that lonely highway. Isolation dramatically increases risk because help is just so far away. It amplifies vulnerability.
And intuition. Sally's story really drives that home.
Critically important. Second, the life-saving role of intuition, that gut feeling, that red alarm. It's not just nerves. It's often your subconscious processing subtle cues, acting as an early warning system. We should learn to listen to it more.
And the threats themselves are so varied.
That's the third point. These stories show the diverse, often unexpected ways threats appear. Predatory lures disguised as help, like the shortcut. Random, unprovoked intimidation, like the gunman. Even suspicious figures potentially abusing authority, like the unmarked car stop. Danger doesn't always look the same.
So wrapping this up, what's the main takeaway for someone listening? Are we just supposed to be scared to travel?
No, not at all. While these accounts are genuinely chilling, they offer really valuable lessons. It's not about fear, it's about awareness.
Right.
It's about fostering better situational awareness, thinking about preparedness, and crucially, having the courage to trust your instincts. To act on that gut feeling, even if a situation looks okay on the surface, don't dismiss that inner voice. It might just be the most important travel companion you have.
Well said. As we conclude this deep dive into some of the hidden dangers of the road, remember that knowledge, that awareness, really is your best defense, your best companion on any journey.
Absolutely. Always trust those instincts. Question things that feel unusual or off. And always, always prioritize your safety above politeness or convenience. Maybe think about which details from these stories really stood out to you and what new questions they might raise about your own approach to safety when you travel.
Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration today. We hope this deep dive leaves you feeling not just informed, but also with a sort of heightened sense of awareness for your own adventures ahead.